The scene in heaven in Book 3 and the elsewhere are by common consent the least effective part of the poem. Milton was here to detail in the ethno-promorphism the nonsensical charge that he lacks a specific visual imagery, as the specific visual imagery was always essential to great poetry, is quite beside the point here, for the trouble that is here too much of it. If he had been contented, and he was in the magnificent description of Eden, to use large general term highly charged with the appropriate emotion as a result of their cadence and the tone of the whole poetic movement of the context, he would have done better. Abstract image of light and joy could have rendered God more effectively than literal description and earnest defensive argument but put into his mouth. Another reason for the relative influenciness of these parts of the poem, that God continuously gives the logical, not the poetic answer to all the doubts we find, and fairness of allowing the innocent couple to be so cunningly tempted and then drastically punishing them and their descendants. We cannot help taking God's argument as an argument and arguing back as read. And the argument asked for from invulnerable the poem suffers the purely logical sense of the case for the God, that he made them and free will, and therefore even though God knew before the creation of a man that man would fall, man's fall was man's own fault and properly punished. And the Christian scheme for the redemption, even though the Milton's own showing it would have show only a tiny minority of man in human history, was the product of the pure mercy and love and undeserved blessing which showered God, repaying God evil. And for the fallacies of the Milton and Milton's God argued, indeed so inadequate is that presented a purely formal case of the God's Milton picture in Book 3 of God's consisting that after the fall someone must be punished, and Adam and or anybody else who might be found, if justified, is to be satisfied, strike one and unchristian and positively evil.